right. So we're first going to ask the audience a question, right? Since we're talking about reimagining a legacy in the next 20, I want to ask the audience, like, what will matter most to you when choosing a hotel in 2045? So let's go to the poll, and we have the choices there. Is it price, personalization, sustainability, design, location, or is it something else? So while the audience votes, what do you think, Carolyn? What do you think? What will matter most?
I think all the factors are very important.
Pick one.
Pick one. Okay, I think I would like to add about fulfilling our guests' aspirations. So for us, we feel that it's important to make the guests feel respected, feel belong, feel authentic, and they feel listened to. So I think focusing on the guests' aspirations is a very key focus for our group now.
Okay, great.
Yep.
So, I was reading up about you, and it talked about how in 2022, you got this phone call from your dad that kind of changed everything in your life, right? So you got a phone call. You were a management trainee at a local bank, and your father asked you to join the family business, which is, the hotel group, right? So take us back to the moment. What went through your mind when your dad called you?
Okay, it was a Saturday morning. I was not working, but he was. And, when he called, it's just his tone was not normal. It was very formal, and there was like a very strong sense of urgency. And he just asked me point blank, like, can you come back now? And without hesitation, I agreed. And on reflection, I think I'm very glad that my dad has expressed his vulnerability to ask me to join the business, because then it forced me to step up and take responsibility, and I became the accidental hotelier.
Okay. We have a lot of accidental hoteliers in Singapore, actually, right? So basically, for context, Carolyn's father basically started his hotel business with Hotel 81, and then you've since expanded worldwide hotels to 52 properties, comprising over 11,200 rooms across Singapore and Asia Pacific. So you've really transform the business, right? So you're the only daughter among 4 children. Why do you think he handed it to you and not the others?
Okay, I have to say that I think I'm lucky. Or I joined the business earlier.
You're such a good daughter.
Okay, I think what happens is that I've always been very close to my dad, right? The bonding, it's always easier for a daughter to bond with a father. And as I shared about how it's important that I managed to align my core values with his core values. So we're both very, very hardworking, very disciplined, and I think he drives a strong sense of humility. And we have a very strong sense of shared responsibility for the family. So another important factor is how I managed to build respect and trust over the years. And if anyone, right, is able to deliver consistent results and be accountable for our actions, it's not that difficult to win empowerment from whether it's your founder or your boss, right?
So in 2017, you became the CEO and MD, right? But, what was the hardest part? Like stepping into your father's shoes? I mean, your father's story is remarkable, and he's considered in Singapore one of the local heroes, like people really look up to. I mean, he dropped out of school at 10, and then he sold ice cream, fish, among other things. And then in 1995, he opened his first hotel, Hotel 81 in Lorong 16, Geylang.
Yes.
In 2021, he was named among Forbes' 10 richest list in Singapore. When you came into the company, was it hard to get respect from the staff because you were seen as, she's the daughter, like she doesn't know anything, but she got the job. How did you overcome that?
Okay, I think it has been a long time, right? And my dad has always been very remarkable and is my strongest mentor, role model, pillar of support. And at all times, I think the hardest part to really step up in his shoes was how steadfast he was, right? He's very focused on the long term. And I think because of his experience in life, like you said, he came from a not so well-to-do family. He didn't drop out of school because he wanted to, but because he needs to work to support the family. And that drive and drivenness, but it's more about how, I don't know, the most difficult is how to follow this everything is okay steadfastness. So I give an example during COVID. I mean, it's a bit passé now to talk about COVID, but I have to say that at the start, everything is so uncertain, and every naysayers, not in the industry, is saying, oh, travel will never be the same again. And my dad just looked me in the eye and say that, don't worry, everything will be normal soon. You know, that one statement just gives you so much confidence and empowerment. And I'm very glad that during the COVID, the worst crisis to ever hit the hotels industry, I managed to keep all my staff, and I didn't even cut salary because I was just focusing on the long term.
All right.
Yeah, and that made us really emerge stronger. Not only are we operational-wise able to capitalize on the revenge traveling immediately at the maybe last quarter of 2022, we are also able to make quite a few strategic acquisitions.
Right, and so today, I mean, let's talk about your strategy. Today you have 6 of your own brands. You got V, Hotel Boss, Hotel Me, Value Hotel, Venue, and Hotel 81.
Yep.
And then some of your local and most of your overseas assets are managed by Accor, right? So how do you decide between sort of self-managed and then third party?
Okay, I think it's a balance of how we can maximize the value for our travelers. So in Singapore, because of our bigger inventory presence, we're able to build more scale. So in Singapore, we manage all our hotels, and we are able to focus on operation excellence while maximizing cost efficiency and resource optimization. So in Singapore, we actually we actually bring to the corporate level all our procurement, leasing, HR, whatever, finance function, even sales and marketing. So we're able to create these economies of scale. But for overseas, I think because we don't have that cost efficiency yet,
right.
You
still need the
international partners.
Global brands to bring in the
whether
customers.
it's a brand distribution or their loyalty program base. Yeah.
Actually, it's interesting because at the first WiT in 2005, I actually interviewed another billionaire hotelier, Kwek Ling Beng, who's one of the big hotel owners, right? And at that time, on the stage, he said to me, that technology was the new real estate. And he said that new billionaires would be made in the online travel business, which came true, right? So do you believe that? I mean, can independent hotel owners like yourself, compete with the scale of brands such as, Marriott, which has its Bonvoy, and then now Accor's got its Accor Plus? How can an independent hotel brand compete with these giants?
I think definitely technology will be a fundamental component of any part of hospitality. And for the international group, it's true that they have skill and they can add skill to technology, whether it's in their distribution channel or their loyalty program base. But I think for an independent local hotel group like us, we have a lot of flexibility, agility, and we have the choice now because technology is being democratized, especially with AI being the great equalizer. So a lot of powerful tools, AI-enabled tools, whether it's revenue management, whether it's guest experience management, it's no longer proprietary. And we can choose to adopt and change the technology that's best suited for what our group needs and best suited to meet our guests' evolving needs. So I think it's still very relevant. As long as we make sure that technology not only improves productivity and efficiency, but how do we make sure that it improves the guest experience?
The guest experience as well. Yeah. Okay. So you're making investments into technology. What's your e-commerce strategy for your group in Singapore?
Okay. We are, because of our large room inventory, we have over the years worked very hard to build strong partnership with a lot of OTA and connected partners. But in terms of e-commerce strategy, we are investing in a new booking engine, and hopefully this will bring us on par with the international players and how we can work to improve and grow our loyalty membership base yeah, that's a key focus for now in terms of this strategy.
Right. I mean, earlier in the session that Carrie was moderating, right? We
Yes.
talked about, well, it's not about the channels, it's about the guest experience, right?
Yeah.
And so, how do you think OTAs can help an independent hotel group like you sort of, become even better in terms of providing the guest experience for them, for your customers?
Yeah. So I think it's like what OTA says, right? They're focused on the booking journey, and nobody's going to post about how great the experience is. But how do we carry it, and maintain that standard of quality guest experience, whether it's frictionless, whether it's they feel personalized. But I think as the hotelier, we can improve that guest journey when they stay and also when they leave, right? Yeah.
So why do you have so many individual brands? Why do you have V, then Hotel Boss, Hotel Me, Value Hotel, Venue, Hotel 81, and then you've got the Worldwide Hotels Group. So what's your brand strategy here?
Okay, because we're very focused on the mid-tier and economy sector, and each little price point does define the brand a little, and we have unique brand promise for each of the brand. So like Hotel Boss is a very large inventory hotel, for example. It's 1,500 rooms. So it's really a hotel for everyone, right? We mix business with leisure, and we want to make everybody feel inclusive, whether it's a business trip, a family trip, or just a mix. And we have the smaller boutique hotels like our Venue brands. So they're all in Joo Chiat. It's a very heritage area, and where our guests can actually be a little bit curious and immersed in the cultural rich heritage of the area. So it's same, but very different, actually.
Yeah, it's like the global brands playbook, right? Because now they're all coming up with different brands for different layers of customers so that they can put different price points into their properties. Right. Okay, so you actually introduced, you talked about lean luxury a lot. What does that mean? Does that mean like being able to eat well and not put on weight? What does that mean, lean luxury?
Okay, so we pioneered the lean luxury concept in Singapore. Of course, another version is like simplified luxury or essential luxury, but to us, lean luxury is about luxury that truly matters. It's not about excess, and it's best exemplified by our Mercure icon, Singapore City Centre. So it's actually strategically situated between the bustling Chinatown, where you can enjoy the cultural immersion, and the vibrant Central Business District. So our travelers, the cosmopolitan travelers who are so well-traveled, they have a chance to really feel the pulse of Singapore and yet enjoy the cultural immersion, wellness. So for example, they can enjoy the artwork under our collaboration with our local artists, both in the room and in the public area. They can also enjoy free yoga lessons and a 40 meters lap pool right in the middle of the city. So we try to give them everything,
Everything for something?
Everything at a very value-driven price point.
Okay, all right. Okay, so hospitality, very asset-heavy, usually very conservative, right? I mean, it's all been about real
Risky,
estate.
actually.
Yeah, so what's been your boldest bet so far that others, maybe even your father, might have doubted at first?
Okay.
Was there something that you did and then he really didn't agree with it, but then turned out right?
Well, I think I'm just lucky. I've always had very fundamental, good support from my dad. But that said, today, I think we are quite fortunate. We have a very strong financial foundation, and we have very good support for our partners and our banks. But when I would say the boldest bet was when it was in 2008, right? So we went to tender for a government land sale site in the middle of Lehman collapse, right? And we turned out to be the sole tenderer. And that part where we dealt with no bank financing, the banks not believing that you can carry out an operation of an 888 rooms hotel well. But we just did it, and it has been already operating since 2011. Our 888 rooms V Hotel Lavender that sits right on top of Lavender MRT station.
Right. So how are you thinking about the future of hospitality? I mean, yesterday at the think tank, there was a concept that was brought out with people living longer, changing demographics, and there was a trend that was talked about as living as a service, where you get a blurring of lines between hospitality and then people living there, and then wellness and aging. How are you thinking about that for the next 20? How do you think hospitality, the blurring of lines, will affect the next 20?
I think going forward, we're going to see a lot more travelers that just want everything, right? They are no longer just looking for a destination or a price or any of the factors, and it will be a combination of factors. So there will be people mixing business and leisure and wellness, and may not come to Singapore just for wellness factor. We're trying to build that, but I think we don't have the niche in that yet. But it's really about fulfilling the aspirations of your target client group, your customer group.
Okay, so let's talk about, you're a second generation leader, right? So what lessons from your father remain relevant today, and what have you chosen to do differently?
I think my dad always, the strongest like what I learned from my dad is really focus on the long term, like the COVID case I've said. He's always very focused on the long term. Whatever else is just hurdles to be overcome, and that's what I learned the most from him. And as a second generation leader, whether it's in hospitality or any other industry, I think important to build that alignment in terms of core values and, as I said, trust and respect.
Right.
Yeah.
So do you invest in startups?
No, that we both agree is not in our core business. We're actually very, very focused on what we do better. And if I go back to what I may do a little bit different from my father, I think I'm just more focused on the people. So when we corporatized Worldwide Hotels only in 2017, the focus was to build a strong foundation for growth, and it's for long-term growth, but most importantly, to attract talents and retain and develop talent. And that's how I think that's what I'm striving to do, to be a humble but confident leader. Yeah.
Okay. All right. So we're going to wrap up with rapid fire, one-word answer. If you could build the hotel of the future, what's the one thing that it must have?
A lot of automation, and at best, auto room cleaning robots.
What's one trend you think Gen Alpha will bring to hospitality that we haven't seen yet?
I think they will be the most conflicted group of guest profile. They want instant gratification, they want frictionless, and yet I think they yearn for some human connection when they want it. Yeah, so you have to. It's really going to be a
conflicted. I like that word,
journey.
conflicted.
Yeah.
Okay. So in 2045, are we still checking at the front desk or something else entirely?
I think even now it's all going to digital. Yeah.
All right. Okay. So what's your guilty pleasure when staying at a hotel, Carolyn?
Yeah, I have to use the word guilty. I really enjoy a real conversation with whether it's a local guest or the local staff at a hotel in the club lounge after a drink or two.
I like the qualification of the club lounge. Please join me in thanking Carolyn for inspiring the next generation of hoteliers. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
All right, thank you so much. All right.
For the next 2 hours.